Let's talk transracial fostering and adoption. What should we be considering? My name is Shantelle Cumberbatch Gammon, and I am thrilled to have been a part of MPLD's Cohort 5. A little bit about me. I'm the Resource Parent and Volunteer Coordinator, as well as the Community Liaison at Bucks County Children and Youth, located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I have 4 years in my current role and 19 years of child welfare. I am a mom, a wife, a friend, a family member, but most of all, I am an advocate for those in need. As a result of my action research project, a PICO was developed, transracial adoption data was collected, definitions were explored, a methodology to provide a solution was developed, and the results will be shared with you today. So my PICO, which is a research question that my ARP is addressing, is if foster adoptive parents and informal caregivers, including those who are parenting transracially, participate in training, and if case management staff and administration receive information regarding how to support African American children culturally, racially, ethnically, and linguistically, will they report increased knowledge, awareness, and attitudes on what is required to ensure the safety and well-being, including mental, physical, and emotional health of children? So we began this journey by evaluating data. Bucks County Children and Youth data of African American or Black children adopted transracially from 2019 to 2023 revealed that all of African American children who were adopted, 63% of those were adopted transracially. Nationally, AFGAR's adoption data from 2005 through 2019 showed that Hispanic children had the highest percentage of adoptions that were transracial, 46% to be exact. Among adoptions of Black children, a third of those children, or 33%, were transracially adoptive homes. Just so you can understand the demographics of Bucks County adoptive families, 96% of our families who are adoptive resources are the ones that are available for children of African American descent. We have 3% of Black or African American foster families or adoptive families that are available for our children. In order to assist families, I designed a pre and post test to measure knowledge, awareness, and attitudes on what is required to ensure the safety and well-being of African American children as it relates to racial awareness, multicultural planning, survival skills, skincare, and hair care. I developed the training, Transracial Foster Care and Adoption, what should we be considering? I administered and evaluated the training, and I designed a fact sheet that would be provided to staff. The foundation of my training was based on Vong, and within her article, she defined racial awareness as a person's awareness of how the variables of race, ethnicity, culture, language, and related power status operates in one's own and others' lives. It includes an understanding of the dynamics of racism, oppression, and other forms of discrimination. Multicultural planning refers to the creation of avenues for the transracially adopted child to learn about and participate in his or her culture of birth. While survival skills is the recognition of the need and the ability of parents to prepare their children of color to cope successfully with racism. My training covered the constructs of racial awareness that included a discussion on racism, discrimination, prejudice, ethnic stratification, and white privilege. The intended goal of multicultural planning is to help a child identify with and develop pride in their race, ethnicity, or culture of birth. The need for survival skills where ongoing conversations regarding race with the child are important, as children need to learn to externalize rather than internalize racism while discussing code switching and microaggressions. Skincare basics to debunk myths that may be present regarding African American skin and hair care. And a general hair care guide and discussion on protective hairstyles and hair salons. So why is there a focus on skin and hair care? There have been several misperceptions about African American skincare. There's an abundance of online Black hair care resources and communities for white parents to explore. White parents are more likely to utilize these resources when prompted by an outside source, usually an older Black woman. Additionally, Henning discussed how utilizing a mixed method approach to capture the experiences of African American or biracial girls, ages 10 to 15, relating to their hair. Finally, lived experience of perceived bullying and teasing related to hair was assessed. Satisfaction with natural hair was also assessed. And a majority of girls experienced or witnessed hair-related bullying or teasing. Girls that reported greater frequency of hair-related teasing also had significantly lower scores on hair satisfaction. I mentioned earlier that I was a mom. I'm actually a mom of two little girls, an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. At the time of this recording, I had literally had a very challenging conversation with my daughter. She went to school and was bullied because of her hair. Unfortunately, she is a minority in her school, not the color of her race, but how many of children who look like her present in the building. So this topic was extremely near and dear to my heart, and I really had a good conversation with her. We reminded her of how important her hair was, and I reminded her that other people need knowledge to learn how to handle that. So while this data does not seem like it should still be a issue, it is still very much applicable today. So with regards to the intervention, who participated? I had 126 families that were invited to the training. 17 families registered to participate. However, 5 families and 10 individuals actually were able to attend the training. 6 of those individuals completed the pre-work, while 4 of them completed the pre-test and the post-test. The data shows that foster and adoptive parents before training pre-work regarding racial awareness strongly agreed, 67%, that they know that others may view their family as different, while 50% felt that they have thoroughly examined their motivation for fostering, adopting a child of a different race or culture than themselves. In addition to the data that was just presented, when you looked at racial awareness continued, examples from the survey show that 43% of them strongly agree that they understand how their own cultural background influences the way that they think, act, and speak. 71% agree that they're able to recognize their own racial prejudice. 43% neither agree nor disagree that they are aware of stereotypes and preconceived notions that they may hold toward other racial and ethnic minority groups. However, only 57% of them said that they make ongoing efforts to change their own prejudiced attitudes. 43% of them said that they agree. However, it would have been nice if that percentage was 100%, because when we have foster parents at a rate of 96% transracially adopting and fostering, we would hope that they would all strongly agree that they were going to be making ongoing efforts to change their own prejudiced attitudes. With regards to multicultural planning, 67% agree that they have explored extracurricular activities with individuals of color who are good role models for the child or children in their home. Approximately 50% and 33% say that they agree and or strongly agree that they have explored traditions, celebrations that their family may participate in from their child or children's birth culture. 83% said that they agree that they provide their child or children with opportunities to establish relationships with adults from their birth culture. The two sets that are concerning is when you have 67% that say they agree, they understand what is needed to take care of their child's skin and their hair. However, this is the pre-work. And hopefully the post-test will show some improved numbers in those areas. And 50% says that they live in a community that provides their child with adult and peer role models of the same race of my child on an ongoing basis. That's an interesting perspective, an interesting percentage, because Bucks County, Pennsylvania is 86% people of is 86% people who are white. So that only leaves 14% of races outside of white to occupy Bucks County. And only 50% of our foster and adoptive parents who did the pre-work said that they live in a community that provides their child with adult peer role models of the same race. Foster adoptive parents before pre-work survey regarding survival skills. This was a little bit of a challenge for me personally to digest. While we do have quite a percentage that calculate in the agree line in this line, we still have several that aren't really sure that they agree. We have several that neither agree nor disagree regarding how they gauge their survival skills. We discussed how they educate their child about the realities of racism and discrimination, that they're aware of a variety of strategies that can be used to help their child or children cope with acts of prejudice or racism, that they're seeking support and guidance from others who have a personal understanding of racism, particularly those from their child's race or birth culture. They have acquired practical information about how to deal with insensitive questions from strangers. That one was a 33%. They help their child or children understand that being discriminated against does not reflect personal shortcomings, and that they seek services and personal contacts in the community that will support their child or child's ethnicity, their children's ethnicity. So what did the post-evaluation feedback tell us? It tells us that the pre-test shows that 50% of the individuals tested correctly regarding what multicultural planning should look like and the definition, and the post-test said 75. The pre-test, 0% had that answer correct. However, at the end of the training, we have 75% answer that question correct. Colorblindness, we have 50% who said that they got it right on the pre-test, and that number increased at a 75% post-test percent correction. Racial identity was 100% to be at the pre-test and 100% at the post-test. That's great. When we continue with the evaluation feedback, if you notice, most of these percentage for the pre's and the post-test show a strong increase, especially survival skills that went from 25% to 100%. However, it is interesting to note that racial awareness went from 100% correct to 75% correct. So we have some feedback from at least one of the participants where in the training they would like to see a glossary with definitions at the end. For example, what is 4C hair and what are the most common protective hairstyles? And maybe have pictures to go along with that as well for noobs like them. The same person says maybe to include some different age-appropriate conversation starters for different ages of kids so they have a better handle on how to begin certain conversations and to not overwhelm the kids or themselves in trying to set up a good talking environment. While the results of the post-adoption tests were anonymous, I say that it's probably the same person based on the language and the way the responses were submitted. So when you talk about challenges and limitations, we had low training participation. Family participation was voluntary. Not all attendees of the training chose to take the survey, although it was highly encouraged. The data discussed is only on adopted children, and new training development is extremely time-consuming, but totally worth it. So what did I learn from the intervention and evaluation? Children deserve to have their racial needs met when in foster care. Cultural competence training for transracial resource and adoptive families is imperative for staff, resource, and adoptive families, especially if you live in a location where the demographics are showing a disparity in children in foster care and the race of who is taking care of them. What are my next steps? I'm going to share the results of my ARP with my agency. I'm going to advocate that the training, transracial fostering and adoption, what should we be considering, be made mandatory for resource families. I'm going to advocate that staff can have the opportunity to take the full training and receive training hours. And I'm going to share the content in both my personal and my professional life on an ongoing basis. Personally, MPLD challenged me to push past my comfort zone. It helped me to stop accepting mediocrity from myself, and it brought me back to life. I wish I could really explain to you how MPLD will change your life. Personally, it really caused me to evaluate some things that were going on in my world, and also to prioritize what I wanted from myself, both personally and professionally. MPLD transformational leadership gave my leadership style a name. I always just thought I was different, and I accepted that. But when I realized that transformational leadership is an actual thing and that I had been living and breathing it all the while, it really impacted how I felt about myself. It showed me that I have the tools to succeed within me, and it helped me to push through feelings of imposter syndrome. I belong. You belong. We all have spaces that we belong, and it's important to remember that. MPLD has finally helped me to own my professional voice. I can tell you that over the years, I have definitely become more quiet in meetings where I had things of importance to say. Going forward, I look forward to using my voice. I look forward to opportunities that I can share the MPLD impact on others. These are my references. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation.